The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Twin Falls, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus. Job number 33018. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start on the front bumper. On the face of the front bumper, you'll find dual air horns, passenger and driver's side. Located directly in the center, you'll find your siren and PA speaker. Moving up onto the bumper extension, you'll find on the driver's side your mechanical siren. Located directly in the center, you'll find a tubbed storage location for your front bumper load. On the outer edges of the body, you'll find a turn indicator and also clearance light. Located just inside that area, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Moving up to the very top here, emergency warning lights forward facing. Behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find the release latch to gain access for the hood. Moving up onto the windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across your seamless one-piece windshield. On the outer edges of your mirror, you're going to find flat and convex mirrors. Moving up to the brow and also to the very top section of the forward-facing bucket, you'll find your clearance lights, and just above that, you'll find emergency warning lights. Let's take a look underneath of the bucket. You'll find 2 bump stops located in the very front undersection. As we move to the rear section of the bucket, underneath, you're going to find 2 attachment points. And then let's move forward again here. We'll find 2 downward-facing floodlights. There are 2 panels which can be accessed on the right and also on the left side with a push-in, release, turn latch. As we move to the very front, you'll find the drain for your waterway. And then just to the rear of that, you'll find your downward sprinkler. Let's go ahead and go back to the front of the bucket itself. We'll identify a couple items. There are 2 2.5-inch discharges. The one on the driver's side has been reduced down to 1.5 inches with just a reducer. Just up from that location, you'll find your master stream device, and then you're also going to find your attachment point and lock. Located in the very center, you're going to find a forward-facing adjustable floodlight. Let's take a look at some close-ups, first starting with the bumper extension. This is that tubbed storage location for your front bumper load, 1.5 inch swivel discharge. On the outer edges of the headlight structure, you'll find your clearance and turn indicator. On the inside, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam. High beam headlight will be on the inside. Moving up from this location, we're going to find that forward-facing emergency warning lights. Let's move all the way around to the driver's side door. This is the step area where you'll find a recessed air inlet. Quick look at the front grille. This is just behind the Pierce logo is where you'll find that release. And then as we move around to the side, you'll find your shoreline inlet and also battery voltage visual charging system. It is an auto eject 20 amp plug. Let's go to the side of the apparatus. We're going to find door locks which are keyed and also grab handles for all points of entry into the cab. From this location, let's go down to the very bottom. You'll find in the step well, you'll find clearance lights, and then underneath the step, you'll also find additional lights. We do have emergency warning lights located throughout the various side of the apparatus. They're indicated by the arrows. Just over the center window, you'll find a side-facing floodlight, and then just to the sides of the rear of the body, you'll find additional side-facing emergency warning lights. We'll also find grab handles located at points of entry for personnel to go aloft. There is also a side-facing body floodlight just above the rear axle of the rear dual wheels. Quick look here at the side of the vehicle. Let's take a look at the rear section of the apparatus. We'll go over a few items within this area. First, starting on the outer edge with a marker turn indicator light. As we move inside of that location, you'll find your tail light cluster housing backup, turn, brake, and also an emergency warning light. We do have 2 cupped switches located here, which will turn on scene lights to the rear and work lights. Moving from that location to the very top, you'll find a 360-degree passenger and driver side emergency warning light. And then just inside of that location, you'll find 2 work lights rear facing. As we move to the very rear of the apparatus, you'll find 2 attachment points. Above those attachment points, you're going to find some warning labels that only direct pull. There are also 3 pan doors back here in the very back. We'll talk about those in just a moment. The Pierce logo American flag eagle. This is going to be your aerial inlet. You'll also find an inclinometer from left to right just next to that aerial inlet. As we move up to the very top of the apparatus, you're going to find your traffic advisor, and just above that you'll find a backup camera. Let's go from this location now, and let's talk a little bit about the very bottom. There is this warning label here regarding that only a direct pull, do not pull upward. And then you're also going to have a pressure warning hazard label here regarding caps that may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening. And also we're going to have some fall and climbing warning labels also on the side. Because it's an aerial device, we do have an electrocution hazard and danger label on the very far right rear section. Just a quick look at the entire truck. Let's now move to the pump panel area. First, starting at the very bottom, you're going to find your foam drains. I've got some close-ups of these items, so we're just going to hit the highlights. Down at the very bottom, you have a pull-out and open step area. And then as we move upward from this location, just above the diamond plate, we're going to find all your color-coded and labeled drains. Just to the right, you'll find your 2.5-inch female auxiliary inlet. As we move just up from this location, the Pierce logo American flag eagle large diameter pump intake. You also have foam controls because your vehicle does have a foam system. This is going to be the tank inlet and also foam controls. There are 2.5-inch discharges located on this side. We'll move up to the next section here where you'll find all of your discharges. We'll go over those in just a moment. And then also a water tank level indicator. That's the blue module on the right side. As we move further up, you'll find the red module at the very top. This is going to be your Husky foam system. And then also in the gray area, you'll find your master intake and discharge gauge. And then to the right, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. And then further to the right, you'll find some switches. We're going to go over those in detail here in just a moment. First, let's start at the very top section here where you'll find all of your crosslays. They are color-coded and also labeled. Here's some close-ups of that pull-out and tilt-out step. And as we look underneath, you'll find your foam pump discharge drain and foam pump intake drain. Moving up from this location, you'll find all your color-coded and labeled discharge drains. These are just a swing handle. I'd also like to point out this danger regarding electrocution hazard. That's also affixed to the side of the pump panel area. We do have a Watrous placard indicating the type of pump that you have and also the capacity of 2,000 GPMs. To the right, you'll find your pump drain, and then just beneath that, you're going to find your manual pump shift with a caution label with some information there. Let's move just to that pan door where you'll find your foam operations. There are some instructions on the yellow handle inside located on the door, and then also a foam drain, which is a twist, not a pull. As we look to the warning label here, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after they've received proper training. Just above that, you'll find your Pierce placard regarding your minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll go over that in just a moment. And then, of course, all of your discharge drains, the red indicating that there is a foam-capable discharge. This is your minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI. On the left-hand side, you'll find the associated GPMs, and on the right-hand side, you'll find the associated RPMs. We also have listed in this placard here your job number, which is 33018. This is when the vehicle was pump tested at the factory. Moving up from this location, you'll find the red module. This is going to be your Husky 3 foam system instructions, and then also operating instructions on the module. On-off switches, increase and decrease, and also status and prime. To the right, you'll find your foam level indicator for the amount of foam in the tank. In the gray module, we're going to find your master intake, and then also your pump discharge master gauge also. In between the two of those, you're going to find your test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. This will be for pump testing purposes, so they currently have plugs located in them. Let's now talk a little bit about the pressure throttle governor. In the upper left-hand corner, if illuminated, this would be a check engine light, and it would be yellow. Moving to the center, you'll find a digital readout for the RPMs or throttle. Moving to the right, you're going to find a stop engine light. If illuminated, this would be red. Moving further down, you'll find the orange menu button, which allows you to scroll through the various menu functions with the display below.
Diagnostic information will display for your engine across the very center section. And then also on the very far right red, you'll find an audible alarm silence button. As we move down to the two blue buttons, you have the option of selecting either pressure mode or throttle mode RPM with the digital readout just in the very center. If your pump is properly engaged, you'll find the throttle ready to engage your throttle. That's going to be the green indicator, and just beneath that you'll find a green preset button allowing you to preset different pump pressures. Moving further down, you'll find the throttle, right to increased, left to decrease, push in the very center to move to the idle position. To the right, you'll find a black audible alarm. The outer edge of that bezel does allow you to dampen the sound level. Once again, if you've properly engaged your pump, you'll find pump engaged. This green light will be illuminating, and then also some future switches and a panel light. To the right, you'll find a twist engine cooler. Let's move from this location just downward where you'll find your green large diameter passenger side discharge. It's a wheel. And then as we also move to the right, you're going to find this warning label that indicates a pressure hazard. Be cautious when removing caps that may be under pressure. To the right, we previously mentioned this is your water tank level indicator. And then we also have some warning labels here regarding fall hazard. Be cautious when climbing on the side of the vehicle. Moving up to the very top, aerial discharge. Once again, wheel valve. And then as we move to the right, you're going to find your tank fill and recirculating line and also tank to pump. To the right, you'll find your fire pump primer with some priming instructions just beneath that you should, for best practices, be at least 1,000 RPMs for priming mode. Let's move up from this location where we'll find the number 1, number 2, and 2.5 inch crosslays, and also a warning label here regarding entanglement hazard. This is the netting on the passenger and driver side for those crosslays. As we look to the top, you'll find your center dividers for those crosslays and also a Velcro strap. Moving to the dunnage area, we're going to find your generator here, and then as we move just upward in the image, we're going to find your Husky 3 foam system hydraulic pump. Let's go from this side to the side where we'll see a visual of your entire pump panel on the passenger side. At the very bottom, all of your color-coded discharge drains. Located in the center, you're going to find your auxiliary inlet. This is a 2.5 inch inlet on the passenger side. You'll also find American flag Eagle Pierce logo. That's going to be your large diameter pump intake. Just to the right, you'll find that green large diameter discharge. And then just to the right of that, you'll find an additional 2.5 inch discharge. We do have a couple warning labels in this area. Let's go over those real quick. First, climbing on or riding on the side of the apparatus is not advised. We also have a pump hazard, or I should say discharge hazard, for caps that may be under pressure. So that's a pressure warning. We do have one pan door on this side. We'll go over that in just a moment. It's just to gain access into the pump panel area. And then also just above that, you'll find the reel rewind for your electric reel, which is at the very top. And then you can see the netting here on this side for those 3 discharges. With those discharges and the hoses from above, we do have an entanglement hazard warning label. And then once again at the very top, you'll find your electrical cord reel. Let's move now to the next section. You'll find an additional storage location at the very top. We'll go over what the contents are inside of that, but directly above that, you'll find a camera here that's pointing toward the outrigger. At the very bottom, you have your step to gain access to go aloft. As we move further to the right, you'll find those discharge drains color-coded and labeled. Let's also take a look further to the right, passenger side auxiliary inlet, once again female inlet coupling. And then as we move further up, you'll find large diameter passenger side discharge and also the number 2 passenger side discharge 2.5. Moving now upward, we'll find the cord reel rewind. This is a 200-foot cord. It's a 20 amp outlet. This is in the panel here at the pump panel to gain access behind the pump area to those modules. And at the very top, you'll find your 4 rollers. Inside that, you'll find your electrical cord reel. And once again, just a close-up here of the crosslays and also that entanglement hazard. As we look into that first compartment directly over the stabilizer, we'll find on the left-hand side, this has to do with your generator. It is in a gauge indicating, I've got some close-ups of that in a moment. Then also your electrical pump panel regarding your generator, which is G1. Above that, once again, side-facing camera for your outriggers. This is the AC volts indicator, which I was just trying to describe earlier with a visual indication in the very front section. As we move to the right, you'll find the panel here regarding your generator for G1 and then all the individual breakers. We do have some electrical shock hazard warning labels here, and also from Pierce we have your continuous power supply rating, also the Harrison 6 kW generator and all of its information regarding that generator. Another quick image here of that side-facing camera, which is for your outriggers. When the outriggers are displayed, you'll find an audible sound, and also you'll find lights that flash in front and to the rear. You'll also find your emergency warning lights on the face, and then just above that we have a crush injury warning label here. Because of those moving inward and outward, be cautious when moving them around personnel. At the very bottom section, you're going to find folding wheel chocks just underneath the compartment. As we move just above, you're going to find a electrocution danger hazard here because of that aerial device. Close-up of the wheel chocks. Let's move from this location, and we're going to go just inside the compartment. This is a pull-out tray. On the right-hand side of that pull-out tray is where you're going to find the release mechanism. On the exterior, you'll find the blue cap. This is going to be a 4.5 US gallon DEF fill location. As we move over the rear axle, you'll find a pull-out and drop-down. Those are the two release mechanisms. We do have two bottle storage locations between the two rear axles. And then also as we move upward, we'll find additional compartments, LED lighting, and some of those compartments will have dry deck material. This is going to be your ultra low sulfur diesel fill area. This is the silver cap. And then once again, you'll find SCBA bottle storage in front of and rear of the axle also, for a total of 4. As we move now to the next compartment, once again, release mechanism on the bottom shelf. And then also we'll move to the rear. Let's start at the rear of the apparatus. We'll start with these two switches. First with your hose bed lights and also your rear deck lights. These are momentary on-off switches. As we move to the center area, you're going to find some warning labels here. Those are those labels referred to earlier regarding a direct pull when utilizing those. Also, you'll find a warning label here regarding pressure hazard. And then also at the very top, we're going to find entanglement, and then also not riding on the rear of the apparatus. As we look into the compartment itself, we're going to find a 35-foot 2-section, 10-foot folding, and a 14-foot 2-section. On the opposite side, we're going to find a 16 roof and also a 24-foot 2-section. There are two 16 roofs. Down at the very bottom, we're going to find once again that pressure hazard warning label. And then as we move across, we're going to find your aerial inlet. That's going to be the Pierce American flag eagle logo. As we move just to the right of that, I'm going to find a inclinometer. This is for the degrees of tilt from left to right. You want to try and maintain in the green section for best operations. You'll also find an aerial inlet gauge, and then also in the pan door, the aerial drain. Once again, just a quick look at that pull. You can see the symbol here indicating for a non-upward pull, but a level or downward pull. This is going to be the hose chute for your large diameter hose for the aerial discharge or for your pump. Also, once again, close up here of that electrocution hazard because of it being an aerial device. As we move to the center, you'll find your traffic advisor. It does have a protective shield, and then above that, you'll find your backup camera. Let's go down just to the very bottom of the roll-up door. This is where you're going to find an additional pan door. This is where you're going to find all of your overrides. You can see the lever and then also the instructions on the stabilizers for those overrides, and also a switch for aerial or stabilizer override power. We do have some warning labels here, obviously, for danger, high pressure hazard for those fluid, and then also a tipping warning hazard if you choose to short jack. There are 4 stabilizer pads, and they do store in the very rear section, 2 on each side. You can see the arrow indicating for the storage location. I'll have a better image of that in just a moment. Just a general view here with your device in the upward position. As we now look to the rear compartment, we'll find once again a pull-out tray on the right-hand side. That's the release mechanism, and then you'll find just underneath, this is the storage location for your stabilizer pads. We're going to now move through some of the compartments. First, we'll start with the same things on the opposite side of the vehicle, but this is SCBA bottle storage location. We have additional storage, LED lighting, ventilation, and also some dry deck material inside some of those compartments. This is between the 2 rear axles. You're going to find SCBA bottle storage and also a side-facing emergency light. As we move to the next compartment, we're going to find adjustable shelving, LED lighting. Once again, I've got to go over those dangers. This is an aerial device. Be cautious when operating your aerial device for electrocution shock. We do have also a warning label here regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. Moving to the right in the upward position here, this shelf is a pull-out tray. The release mechanism's on the right. As we move around the main gear and also the aerial gear, you'll see they are protected. We're now up onto the pedestal area where you'll find your breathing air. We do have gauges and also an adjustment, and then also a fill location for that breathing air. Let's go ahead and move now to the pedestal area. We'll talk about a few of the items there. First, for maintenance, this is going to be a drop-down access point here inside the two lift and tilts. And then also as we move up, we'll find an audible alarm. Once again, the outer edge of that audible alarm does have the ability to dampen the sound. We have some warning labels here. Once again, this is going to be electrocution and also a tip hazard if you short jack. Moving to the pedestal with the open position, we're going to find your command zone. Tremendous amount of information here right at your fingertips. Please see your owner's manual. We have nozzle control, ladder control, and then also some warning labels on the inside of the domed area. But let's first start here with the emergency stop push button. Push the emergency stop in, it will stop all operations. As we move down, we have DC lights and also rope lights, and then an aerial speeds for slow, normal, and fast. We also have a manual basket leveling disable, and then also emergency hydraulic power. As we move down, you'll find nozzle control on the left-hand side, and then ladder control for extend, retract, right and left, and lower and raise. Let's move to the forward section of the pedestal where you'll find an audible speaker. You'll also find the interaction piece where you can have volume control and then also push to talk. This is for talking to the person in the bucket. On the cover here, we're going to find your Pierce platform. This is a waterway dry and waterway charged information and monitor nozzle positions. Down at the very bottom, we have some asterisks here. This might have to do with icing, for example, or different setup information. On the left-hand side, you'll find specifications for the setup per NFPA 1911 testing. As we move just to the right side of the pedestal on the base section of the ladder, this will be the left main side, you'll find an inclinometer here from 0 to -10 and from 0 to 80 degrees. Just a quick view here from the base moving forward at your 3-section ladder. We'll now move to the dunnage area where we'll find our top fill water tank fill location, and then just in front of that you'll find your tank A for foam. We do have a warning label here that you shouldn't mix different brands or consistencies for foam failure. As we move inside the cab, affixed to all door panels for firefighter entry, you'll find this set of warning labels. We'll also find at the hinge side a grab handle for firefighters to get in and out of the cab. And then also very directly in the center behind the rear engine, you'll find your daily checks for all of your oil and transmission. We'll go over that in just a moment. As we move through the cab, I would like to point out you do have 4 seats in the very rear section, 2 forward facing and 2 rear facing. All of those seats do have SCBA inserts. At the rear of the engine, you'll find your daily check access here for oil and transmission. Just a quick view here looking forward from the rear section. As we move from this point, we'll have another image here of the rear seats. Let's go ahead and look overhead. There are push on and off white or red lens lights. It's your option. Whichever you push will be the color you activate. As we move now to the officer's area, once again affixed to the door panel, you'll find those warning labels. You'll also find a warning label here regarding your supplemental restraint system airbag. Do not mount anything within this area. It could hamper your ability for the supplemental restraint system. On the floorboard, you're going to find your electronic siren foot pedal. As we move to the left of the operator's position, you're going to find a push button for the air horn and also a push button for mechanical siren. You'll also find 12-volt access. There are 2 barrel style and also a USB. And then as we move to the very front, you'll find your vehicle data recording port. Let's go back out to the aerial device. Let's start at the rear section looking forward, and then we'll move all the way to the bucket itself. Would like to point out you can see the protective covers on the individual rungs, and then also at the very top you'll find black indicators indicating the length of extension. Let's move to the bucket itself, where you're going to find some warning labels. These will be the same warning labels that you saw at the pedestal area. They're also affixed here in the bucket area. We do have attachment points for personnel inside here while they're operating within the bucket. And then at the very bottom section, you'll find when your generator is active, this outlet will be active also. Just a quick look at the attachment point on the left and the door in the open position. As we look just to the side, you're going to find that 20 amp plug. This is once again when your vehicle has its generator in operation. Moving now to the center console area, this is up inside the very top of your basket. You'll find a command zone operation. Once again, a lot of information at your fingertips there. You'll also find your audible speaker and also intercom system. And just beneath that, you'll find your breathing air connection port. And then also, hard to see in this image, but to the left, you'll find an audible alarm speaker. The outer edge allows you to dampen that sound volume level. This is your ladder control. You've got three options for this. It's in the center, right side, or left side. It is removable. I'll show you that in the next set of images. This is going to be a forward-facing floodlight. You can see it is adjustable. As we look just to the left of the controls, you're going to find under basket AC lights and front basket AC lights. You'll also find switches here for your nozzle control. At the very top, we're going to find that emergency stop button. Just push in and it will stop all operations. Just beneath that, you'll find an aerial speed for its movement, either slow, normal, or fast. And then just beneath that, you'll find an enable, disable. This is for your manual leveling for your basket. Let's go back and take a look at the additional plugs here. There's also one in the forward section that I didn't mention. This is a 20 amp plug also. Here's a quick images of those labels. The silver placard is extremely important. That's for your load capacities. This is the ability to remove the ladder control and move right or left. That's what that bracket was for. Just beneath that, you'll find your breathing air port. There are two located in the bucket. And as we move now to the rear section, just a general view of the ladder. Looking forward now, this is your latch to open on the driver and passenger side to go ahead and move outward of the bucket area. And then also down at the lower section, you'll find a lever here which allows you to turn on or off your shower or sprinkler valve, which is underneath the bucket area. Let's move to the nozzle now. Once again, you're going to find two 2.5-inch discharges. There's one on the right and left-hand side, or driver and passenger. One of those has been reduced down to 1.5 inches. These are going to be ball valves for opening and closing those individual discharges. You also have to the rear of the bucket additional storage locations for your air hoses or air masks. Once we go through a few of these images, we'll move to the cab itself. Let's go ahead and start from that position now. We'll go to the driver's side cab. First, starting with all of those warning labels affixed to the door panel. We also have some additional warning labels here regarding the use of seat belts and also airbag systems. Down in the lower, I guess you'd say right ankle of the driver, you'll find this yellow placard. This is going to be the manufactured from Pierce for your department. Let's go through that placard next. First, starting with the date of manufacture at the very top, job number 33018, and then also all of the gross vehicle weight ratings, cold tire inflation, VIN number, and also all of your fluid capacities for the component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. Down at the floorboard, we're going to find your mechanical siren foot pedal. As we move up to about the left knee area, find your command zone, access point for service, and then also engine ABS diagnostic port is green, and then also your SRS transmission diagnostic port in black on the right. Beneath that, you're going to find ABS diagnostics, engine diagnostic switch, and then also all of your regen switches. This is your regen inhibit and also DPF regen. Moving further up, we're going to find your master battery switch. It's the red switch quarter turn. On the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find your interaxle differential lock with an indication that it's in the on position. We'll now start on the left-hand side of the column, starting first with your hazard lights, a start switch, and also ignition switch. Moving just to the right, you see the little EM switch that stands for Emergency Master. That controls all of your emergency lights at one button. To the right, you'll find your headlights and parking lights, and then also a panel switch which allows you to brighten or dim the panel lights within the driver's preview. To the right, you'll find your OK to engage your high idle. Starting with the dash lights, we're going to start on the left-hand side with your transmission, oil, DEF level, and water temperature. On the right-hand side, we're going to find volts, fuel, front and rear air, tachometer, and speedometer in the center. Diagnostic information displays above and below those two large gauges. Just a quick view here of the driver's space. As we move to the left-hand side, you'll find this yellow triangle. Pull to apply your system parking brakes and push to release. To the right, you'll find your Pierce command zone. Further to the right, you'll find your Allison transmission pad. Is it a push button style? Let's move now to the switches where you'll find your aerial master, aerial PTO, a platform leveling switch, the on-off for your generator for PTO, stabilizer cameras, and also a load manager. Moving further down to the rocker switches, we're going to find engine brake on and off, a setting switch for low, medium, and high, off-road traction, front wheel lock, and mirror heat. This is going to be your pump shift. We have instructions here from road to pump and also from pump to road. There are two green indicators located here. First, pump engaged and OK to pump. You need both of those illuminating for pump operations. We do have some warning labels here and also some caution labels regarding your disengage your retarder and also a minimum speed for your generator and then also your parking brake. Just above that, we're going to find mirror controls. These are the convex mirrors for left and right. And also in the center, you'll find your climate control. Let's look overhead about the left-hand side of the operator where you'll find your placard here regarding height, 12 feet, 2.31 inches, length, 47 feet, 0 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating of 84,000 pounds. If you make any changes to your vehicle, please update this placard. Let's move just to the right of this. We've got a set of memory switches here. First, starting at the very top, emergency master, roof light, front warning light, and side warning light. As we move further down, you'll find your upper rear warning for the rear, for upper and lower, and then also a high beam flash and a future switch if necessary. To the right, we're going to find an air horn, 3 future switch locations, siren brake, driver side flood, passenger side flood, and also your deck lights. Let's now shift slightly more to the right. We'll find additional. This is going to be your traffic advisor and on-off switch and also the ability for left-right split or flash. Further to the right, you'll find your siren control and PA speaker system plug-in. Moving further to the right in the very center, we're going to find your do not move your apparatus. If this light is flashing, you may have a compartment door or door ajar. Congratulations, Twin Falls, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus. Job number 33018. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.